welcome back to the Rink Podcast. Today we're going to dive into the most chaotic and electrifying, but also the endless debated team, the Edmonton Oilers. Every single year, this team gives us the same question. Is this finally the season they break through, or are they wasting the prime years of two generational talents? We're talking McDavid and Draisaitl's championship windows, the roller coaster goaltending situation, the identity of their blue line, whether the bottom six is actually good enough, and the one move that maybe could push this team over the hump. Do you want to hear more? Then go ahead and follow the Rink on social media platforms. Scan that QR code, which links all socials. If you don't see a QR code because you're just listening on Spotify, check out my Instagram at _Rink31. Please continue to like and download the podcast on all major platforms, and so we can keep that content rolling. Boys, welcome back for another amazing day here talking about another team. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Jordan?
Hey.
Oh, here's the typical hey, fuck's sakes. Jordan's got a couple beers in him from golf. Donnie's fucking got Babcock looking at his phone over his shoulder. I think we're ready to roll here, basically. We're gonna dive right into it with the Edmonton Oilers here. The first big thing that happened this offseason, obviously, was the Mike Babcock scandal. Not only just him returning to the league and how he returned to the league, but is he the right choice for the Edmonton Oilers? Babcock hasn't coached since 2023, and as we all know, a very controversial stint in Columbus where he had some issues looking at people's phones, I guess, and who knows what else. Like Donnie said, I think we did a quick little thing before. He's just a terrible person, but whatever. That gets you jobs still in the league. I'll start with you, Donnie. Let's go over Babcock. Do you think that his game has evolved past Babcock's style, or do you think Babcock still has an impact for this Edmonton team this season coming up?
No, I think Babcock's a dinosaur in today's NHL. I don't think he's the type of coach, either personality-wise or personnel coaching-wise, to make changes in his play style. The same guy who benched Mike Modano at the end of his career in his Detroit era is going to come and coach the Oilers. I kind of understand why the Oilers went this direction. You have all these different coaches you cycle through in McDavid's career so far. Like, this is almost the last kick at the can. That's kind of, it reeked desperation for me a little bit. Bringing in someone who's obviously a stern coach, can kind of crack down on players. Players kind of find their mold and stay in their lane under Babcock, and I think that's what the Oilers management are hoping to get out of Mike Babcock this round. Obviously, the controversial history. People in the NHL were talking about the investigation into his conduct in Columbus. We heard about the Edmonton leadership team meeting with Babcock to ensure the fit was right. It just feels like this is the Oilers management's last chance at keeping McDavid in Edmonton, right?
Yeah. Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, like, to answer your question, Dante, there is a spot in the league for coaches like Babcock. There's not a spot in the league for Babcock, right? Like, I'm all for a hard-nosed coach that expects a lot of the players and keeps you up to the top expectation, not a super player coach. I think Edmonton's had a lot of that over the last few years. That's kind of their last three guys, all players coach, kind of go with how the players want. The players are kind of running the team and the dressing room, and they needed to switch up. They wanted Cassidy. That's 100% who they wanted. You cannot change my mind otherwise. Vegas said, I'm not giving them to you, not a chance. And so they pivoted to, I guess, who they thought was the closest coach style in Babcock. But Babcock's a horrible human being. It's not just what he brings as a coach. It's how he treats arena staff, how he treats parking lot attendants, how he treats equipment managers, scratch guys, AHL guys who get called up to, potentially play a game. He's not the type of guy that you want running your team for those reasons. I think the type of coach Babcock is, where he expects a lot out of your players, has high expectations, keeps you to like a certain system, and you're running this system. There's definitely a spot in the league for that. There's just not a spot in the league where he does it.
No, I agree with you guys. And hey, if you wanted to know truly what people think of Mike Babcock, go to Mike Commodore's Twitter feed there. Didn't he get like a cease and desist too, or something like
He got
that?
like a ban from Edmonton because he was
Yeah,
bad-mouthing Babcock.
Yeah, and I also think Babcock like has a history of being hard on his star players, so it's going to be very intriguing to see like first sign of adversary that this Edmonton Oilers team faces with Draisaitl or McDavid not performing to the top, carrying that team. What does Babcock do? What changes, and how does that fallout affect the team?
I think they wanted that a bit, right? Like from what I heard, is the leadership group there, and Hyman and Draisaitl and McDavid came together and decided, like, hey, this is a good guy for us. We think that he could really work here. I think they want someone that's gonna keep them accountable and push them a little bit more because they've had a little bit too much free reign.
Yeah.
But to your point, how much is too much for them, right? Like they've never had it before. Is it going to hit the wall where they're just like, after this, I'm not dealing with this guy no more, right?
I think like this was a huge risk from Stan Bowman to take, which is why I think they also brought in DJ Smith there, who's been widely known as a players coach in the NHL. He's always been there for his team. He's widely, that's what he's known for, basically. I think that might have been a calculated move to offset Babcock in certain situations. Now you'll have Babcock, who's like we all said, he's your hard nose. He's gonna yell. He's gonna treat you like shit. But then you also have DJ Smith there now to probably balance it a little bit. So, like Donnie was saying, when the adversary does come and Babcock comes down hard, at least you still have Smith there, I'm assuming, as devil's advocate to him or opposite viewpoint to him. So I'm wondering if that, like, I think it's a calculated move to offset Babcock's personality. I'm just wondering how it actually pays off, because we know that Babcock's not only a dick to arena staff, all that, his own staff, he's been an asshole too. So I wonder how Smith is able to actually deal with Babcock as well.
Yeah, and I guess also, like, at the very least, if Babcock's wife calls him home or he looks through too many cell phones from players on the team, you at least have a backup coach to take over for the rest of the year, right? Like, yeah. I think this one here, it's either going to be like a very big success and Babcock's personality, like, affiliates well with the players and the players really respond to his coaching style, or it's something that like halfway through the year the Oilers are looking at
halfway through the year
and putting DJ Smith there.
Oh, they call John Tortorella. Tortorella, where are you at? We need you to fill in half a season here.
Yeah, it's one or the other. I don't see it kind of going in the middle there, you know?
Yeah, I think DJ Smith was definitely brought in as like a guy that, you know, allows players to vent to and kind of, you know, complain to while he'll hear them out and kind of be on their side a little bit. That's the other person you guys just brought him up, Tortorella. Like, why wouldn't they just wait for him? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, this hire. It was very rushed. It felt like their cards got shown early with the Cassidy situation. They pivoted into Babcock and then forced the league to investigate him. And then they said, well, we're in too deep now. We got to sign him.
Yeah, but like you were saying, Jordan, like I think the whole Vegas delay of Cassidy availability for teams really impacted that market, right? Yeah. If Vegas, while the playoff run's happening, if they're like, yeah, Bruce, go visit with the Oilers, one of our rivals, they hire him immediately. We're not even talking about Mike Babcock, right? But if Vegas's goal was to keep Cassidy away from Edmonton, they did a very good job, right?
They nailed it.
You know, other than this big coaching hire, Bowman was able to move on from Darnell Nurse as well, which I think all three of us were shocked with. Not only that he was able to find a buyer, but he's able to find someone that did a 1-for-1 trade for this guy, basically. Like he got rid of his entire cap of 9.25, which was an absolute shocker to me. And he brought in from the San Jose Sharks defenseman Shakir Mukhamadullin. I think that gave them like 5.9 million in cap space over two, so almost 6 million in cap to even play around with going farther. Donnie, I'll start with you. So just looking at their decor, they got Murphy, Wallman, Ekholm, and then Murphy, Wallman, Ekholm, and Bouchard as your top four, most likely, with Shakir Mukhamadullin, who's a younger player, coming in. Do you think that Shakir pushes into their top four with some of those guys like Ekholm and Murphy maybe not having the big foot speed anymore, but still being valuable to the team in a defensive capability? Do you think he pushes in there, or do you see that it takes some time? Like, where do you think Shakir fits in here?
Yeah, I think both Ekholm and Murphy have enough foot speed age, whatever you want to call it, left in their game to play those defensive roles to balance out their offensive D partners. Like we obviously see Evan Bouchard's lack of defensive capabilities in his own zone. I think Ekholm does a good job of balancing him out, and they need him to be like a number one top 3 level defenseman to have any success this year. I think Ekholm is the most important piece on that back end. Bouchard is going to produce, and then on the flip side, they have Jake Wallman. They brought Connor Murphy back, who was a deadline acquisition last year. I think that's also a pretty good balance for the way Jake Wallman plays. And I think, like you're saying, Dante, that Darnell Nurse trade, I don't think Stan Bowman could have done better. Like we originally heard Nurse was available on the trade market. The Oilers were looking to move his $9 million salary without retaining anything. We all laughed at that. I think in our group chat, we had enough Darnell Nurse jokes saying that it's never going to happen. Yeah. They found the perfect trade partner in the San Jose Sharks, who have a very young team looking to bring in some veteran leadership on their decor and can absorb a full contract like that. And the fact that they got a 24-year-old former first-round pick, I don't think he had that many points last year, but someone that you can bet on playing a third pairing role and kind of give that ice time to see if he can grow into more. I don't think you could ask for more if you're on the Oilers side in this trade.
No, I think that this by far is Stan Bowman's best move as the Oilers GM and potentially ever as a GM. I've been very heavy on this before that Stan Bowman is legitimately getting jobs because of his father's name. I don't think he's a good GM at all. His big trade in Chicago was trading away and Terry Panarin for Brandon older Saad. Brandon Saad. Come on. Horrible move. I don't think he's ever really won a trade. This one, I think he might have. With that being said, I think their decor, like Donnie says, is really relying on Ekholm kind of taking his form from a couple of years ago, kind of stepping back into that and being a top pairing shutdown defenseman to offset Bouchard's offensive ability. What I do like on their defense is, the youth that they're going to give a shot on their back end with the Ryan Shea potentially, and then Shakir. That gives them some youth and some cost-effective players that are going to hopefully be able to step in and play third-line minutes for them. The other person I like adding is Connor Murphy. I really liked Murph in Chicago. I think he's a really good defensive defenseman that was stuck on a really bad team for a long time. You kind of saw it when he came over. I thought he was solid for Edmonton last year and in the playoffs. And if he can kind of build on that and continue that, I think you're really happy with what you could get from him.
I agree. And the positive, like I mentioned too, is they have $6 million in cap basically. So if Ekholm isn't returning to form, I think you're going to have to keep that on a short leash throughout half the season. If he's not going to return to the form he is and take on those heavy minutes, then you got to look at maybe using that $6 million to get that defender, because we'll get into it right away, but the McDavid Draisaitl window is not exactly long anymore. It's a very short one. So you got to use that. I think I predict that we see Bowman use that $6 million for sure by the end of the season at the deadline, at least by minimum. We're gonna go over to the next. Oh, good.
On that with the cap space, I show on here the Puckpedia at 4.725 current cap space. Do you guys think they sign anyone before, like a veteran or something, to bring in before the regular season? Or do they finally hold some cap space for closer to deadline time so they can actually make a move?
I do both. I signed Patrick Laine to a 1-year, $850,000 contract and put him on McDavid's wing. Tell him don't fucking move, stand there and shoot the puck when McDavid passes the puck to you. And
big bonus. Yeah.
Well, I guess we're jumping ahead in our agenda because that was later down.
We'll go back to it after. Don't worry.
No, what I would do is, instead of Laine, I would look at like a Vladimir Tarasenko, someone who could potentially still come in and give you some goals. And then they could also buy out Jari, right? If they need more cap space, try to move on from him in the 3 years at 4 point something he has left. There's opportunities for sure, though.
Yeah.
We're going to jump over to the McDavid Draisaitl window, but first, before we go there, we're just going to take a quick break for our sponsor, DraftKings. What comes down to this, a best-of-7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series, all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN. Spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text passthrough may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Team 1 non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
All right, moving right along here. Draisaitl, McDavid, who's arguably their two most important pieces. Not arguably, they are. They're kind of their 1A, 1B situation. We saw with McDavid signing the contract the way he did. Obviously, he was giving the Oilers their ultimatum. It's time to freaking do something kind of thing. Jordan, we're going to start with you. 2 questions. You're going to handle them both at the same time. What needs to happen for this to be considered a success and keep these two bought in the Edmonton Oilers organization? And if it's a failure and McDavid leaves, does Draisaitl follow him or do they retool around him?
So I don't think McDavid's leaving. We'll start there. I think McDavid's giving this year. I think it's more of a threat than an actual situation that he's going to follow through on. I just think him and Draisaitl enjoy playing together. I think he's going to stay with Draisaitl till the end of the contract in 2032. Do I think he maybe should? Yeah. If they're not going to do something for him and make the proper move, yeah, he should move on. But I just don't see him doing it. He has a nice house there, just built it, and Draisaitl's locked in for a long-term deal where he took a shorter-term deal. I think he was hoping that he hits, a Stanley Cup now this next year, and then he's going to sign a big ticket and take up a bunch of cap after he has one ring and kind of call it from there and, make his big money after that. But I know everyone wants him to move on and create the chaos that would create. And ultimately, if he does, if somehow he does decide to move on, yes, Draisaitl's going to ask for a trade. He's not sticking around. He's not staying here and saying, "Oh, well, these," because you're not getting an NHL trade with that. You're getting prospects, you're getting picks, you're getting guys you're not seeing for a couple of years. Draisaitl's not saying, "Well, I'll stick around for this." He's like, "Why am I hanging out here? I'm one of the best players in the league. I want a shot at winning a cup too. You can move me too if you're going to hit a full rebuild."
Fair. Donnie?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think McDavid's real estate situation affects his outlook on the Oilers. He has a nice house, sure. But I honestly think I see this as a make or break year for McDavid in Edmonton. I think he's had more than enough plentiful coaches in Edmonton. Like we said, I think this Babcock hire is kind of a last-ditch effort to find a different coach to see if they can get different results in this team. To your point, as far as a successful season, Dante, I think they have to make it to the Western Conference Final minimum. If it's a first or second round exit, I think it's looked at as a failure by this core. And I think end of the season, after this first year of this 12.5 cap hit on McDavid, is when he makes his decision. He will either inform the Oilers, "I want out after next season, so you might as well look to trade me now," or "I'm walking as a UFA if things don't go the right way." Leon Draisaitl has 3 more years beyond McDavid at 14. I agree with Jordan that if McDavid leaves, I think he's very quickly out the door as well. You could also say the same for guys like Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins that are kind of on the wrong side of 30 in their careers, and it could potentially put the Oilers right into a full rebuild. They don't have a lot of high-end prospects or talent coming. They don't have a lot of draft picks left to trade future value for players now, and it just, between the goaltending situation and some of the reliance that this team has on young players making jumps in their top 6 this year, playing with Draisaitl, McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman in their top 6, I think it could be a tough start to the year with those players really trying to take that step. I think the start of the season is very important. I think they have to come out really hot and really find chemistry as a team. But yeah, I think this is the season for McDavid is the way I see it. And if it doesn't go well, it could be fireworks next offseason.
Yeah, no, I think those are the only two standpoints you can really take going into this. It's either you believe he's staying or you believe he's going. And for me, like Donnie, you said, the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference Final is the staple for me. Honestly, I need to see him in the Cup Final. Win or lose, I need to see them make it all the way there, or at least lose in 7 in a very hard-fought, battled Western Conference kind of thing. But to that point.
Sorry, just to answer that on a successful, because I didn't answer that part of it. To answer that on a successful season, I think a successful season for Oilers with Draisaitl and McDavid is the Cup Finals, getting to the Cup and legitimately winning the Stanley Cup.
For the record, I meant winning the West as well. I think I said Western Conference Final, making it there, but
yeah. I think it's winning. I think it's winning the Cup. I think anything short of that for them, I don't know if you can call it a failure if you're in the Cup Finals. There's only 2 teams there, but it's not what you want and what you need from this team. Right?
I just think they can convince themselves that they're close, right? If they get to that Cup Final again and they're a few wins from winning it, they win a few games in that final series, I think they could maybe try to swing it in a way where, hey, a few more pieces, we might get there. And
that result would for sure keep McDavid around, right?
Yeah.
Like for sure that keeps McDavid around.
Yeah. Well, the big question always was for them was their goaltending, and they did completely revamp their goaltenders this season and bringing in Frederik Andersen. They traded for Devin Levi, who, like you guys mentioned prior, we were talking, he is AHL eligible, and then you still your Tristan Jarry as your backup. Jordan, we'll start with you here. Does this goaltending situation, is it better for them, or do you think they're in still the same situation with shaky Frederik Andersen, which we've seen before in the past, comparing to a shaky Stuart Skinner or something like that? Like, where do you think this goaltending stability is now?
No, I think they're better off. Like, you've kind of seen goaltending move to 2 tandem, and even this past year, Carolina kind of ran a 3-man tandem with Freddie not always being healthy. I think Freddie at $1 million is a great contract for them. Very cost-effective, legitimate fringe starting goaltender. Yeah, he's probably not the guy you want in there for a game 7 for you. None of these guys are. They're not going to get that. They weren't going to get that in free agency. Their best option was Stuart Skinner. They weren't bringing him back. So I think bringing him in at $1 million, you've seen Freddie get hot. He did it this past year for Carolina. He had 2 really good series. I think bringing him in at $1 million, you can't go wrong. It's definitely a good way to approach it. And then you get to throw in a Levi, who is also on a very low cost friendly contract, who you can move up and move down. So if Freddie gets hurt, he comes up, he gets to play some games. I think Levi's probably fringe NHL ready. I don't think he's NHL starter ready, but Buffalo wasn't ready to give him that shot because of who they had in front of him. I think kind of he's hoping to be able to push for that. The biggest question mark to me is Jarry. What do they get from Jarry? Is he going to be better than last year? Is he going to be able to return to form that he had a few years ago in Pittsburgh, or is his career kind of completely off the tracks?
Yeah. Donnie?
Yeah, I think Jordan mentioned the $1 million deal for Frederik Andersen. I think they did as well as they could have with their realistic options in front of them, with their cap space issues. Like, we look at Bobrovsky getting $8 million from the Leafs. We talk about Connor Hellebuck enough in Winnipeg. I don't think the Oilers had the assets that they were willing to give up for a Hellebuck trade, or the cap space. I don't mind them gambling on Andersen. Like, obviously the injury history, he only played 35 games last year before the playoffs. We saw 2 good rounds, but he wasn't really challenged in those 2 rounds. He had a pretty stellar team in front of him in back-to-back sweeps, and he kind of faltered out in the end, and Bussy came in and secured the cup for Carolina there. They could have definitely done a lot worse. I don't mind the gamble for what it cost them. I don't think Tristan Jarry is going to figure it out. My feeling is just that might be buyout potential pretty quick early in the season here. I don't mind the Devin Levi ad based on the age and the potential to jump up. There were rumors that the Oilers were far down the road of acquiring that Sebastian Cossa goalie, 6'7" monster, that was on Detroit. I think he had like a 935 or 940 save percentage in the AHL last year, and he won like 30 out of 40 of the games that he started. Like, he was a pretty unbelievable season. I think Utah ended up acquiring him. And
to your point there, Donnie, I think that would have been a better ad.
I think so. I think Kosa is further along in his development than Levi was. Yeah. And if it came down to Anderson and Jari faltering, he could step in a lot easier than Levi would right into the starter's net. So if that would have happened, I would have said, I think they've done the best that they could have possibly done with their current situation. But yeah, I guess we'll see if these guys can stay healthy and stay on the ice.
Just to quickly sum it up, I don't want to repeat what you guys have said, but I agree with Donnie there. Jari, I don't see him being on this team at the end of the season. And to the point of Jordan, none of these goaltenders are winning you a Game 7, but I don't think Edmonton needs that. They have McDavid and Draisaitl that'll win you the Game 7. All these guys need is some fucking average goaltending.
Yeah, just make
make a simple save, and it's not even like they're asking for crazy. Just make the save when they need you to make it. There's a couple of shots in the third period when you're hemmed in and you're up by a goal. Make the fucking save. They never got that in the past, and it always turned into a bloody mess. They always collapsed every single time. The famous McDavid screaming clip at them in the locker room, telling them to walk the fuck in. It's all they need is simple saves, and I think you can get that from Anderson. And I actually really love Levi and his age and where his development is going. So I think they are in a better, more stable goaltending situation than they have in the past. You just got to hope that your stars like McDavid and Draisaitl show up for those Game 7s and stuff like that. We're going to wrap it up with just the one move away debate. So you're each going to be, now that you're one of you at each time, we'll go Jordan first and we'll switch over to Donnie. You're the new GM of the Edmonton Oilers. You have what we just talked about, basically. There's your goaltending, there's your defense. You got $6 million or whatever you mentioned, Jordan, in cap space. We kind of touched base on what it is. You're signing a free agent or not. But, Jordan, you're the GM. What's your first move? You're sitting in the chair. What are you looking at doing for this season to try to win a Stanley Cup for these guys?
First of all, I'm firing Stan Bowman to the moon because he can't make a successful move at the deadline, so he's going to lose you this season and not go all in and actually make the right move that you need to. So he's gone. And then personnel-wise, I just don't think there's a goalie out there that you can acquire, unfortunately. It's so hard to make a goalie move. So outside of that, you're looking at your forwards and defense. Where do you need the most help? I kind of like giving the young guys a shot on defense and kind of seeing what this six have for you. You got some youth back there. So I'm probably looking for like a top to middle six forward, someone that maybe you're comfortable playing with Draisaitl or rounding up out a solid third line of like Nugent Hopkins, Dickinson, and a winger that can make that third line really good, really shut down, play against other teams' top lines. That's probably where I'm looking.
All right, Donnie, question to you. You're in charge. What's your move going through the season here?
Yeah, I think the easy answer, which Jordan already covered, is top six more established help. Like, I think with Isaac Howard, Matt Savoie, even Podkolzin. Podkolzin had a really good year last year. Those are still three pretty unproven wingers. They could bring someone in that's more established, someone to just either bump everyone down a seat, try to add a little bit more depth in the forward core. But I also wouldn't mind. We talked about their top four and some of their defensive guys getting older, Ekholm, etc. But first sign of like any of those guys faltering or injuries, it wouldn't hurt having another top four defenseman in there. Someone a little bit more defensively responsible. One name I would love is Zach Whitecloud out of Calgary. If they found a way to swing a trade for him and kind of have him back there just stabilizing things in the top four decor, that could be a pretty good ad. Yeah, to your point, it's the Calgary Flames, but. Yeah.
At the same time, though, I understand the rivalry talk every time people talk about trades, but if you're making your team better, you're making your team better at the end of the day. Like, is Calgary competing for a Stanley Cup right now, in my opinion? No. So why not trade Whitecloud to Edmonton for whatever you can get? It's not going to affect you. You're going to lose a regular season game? Cool. You probably want to lose regular season games at this point. You know what I mean? So I always laugh sometimes when people are like, oh, we can't trade with them. They're rivals. Well, like in certain circumstances, sure. But
what's best for your hockey team?
Yeah, you got to do what's best. I kind of mentioned what I would do, honestly. Like Donnie mentioned, Tarasenko would be a good option, but I would honestly pitch McDavid and Draisaitl to line A as much as I can. and see if I can get him in there with a very just NHL-based contract, throw bonuses at his feet, see if he can revive a little bit. His injury issue and everything that happened last year. They have the positive with them that Donnie can speak to as well. Line is, man, that guy's a team player. The fact that he didn't play anything at all last season when he was perfectly healthy, but still supported everyone, still did everything the team asked of him. Very good in the community in Montreal with their From Us to You company there and for mental health and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't mind seeing him over there. The only question I have is, could he handle Mike Babcock? That we don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he can personally, just with prior thing. But I have a question for you guys. If Vancouver, who we might be doing down the road here, is going to be eating half of Pettersson's contract, is that someone for the Oilers to go all in on to try and acquire?
I don't know if they have the assets Vancouver would be asking for back for him.
I don't think so.
They're asking for me and Donnie were listening to a lot of those rumors because there was Montreal that was in the mix for a lot of those rumors for Pettersson. They're asking for quite a fucking king's ransom for the guy still.
Yeah.
I don't think Edmonton has the assets they'd want to give up to do that. I think it would be awesome if they could, but I just don't think they have the assets to do it.
And he's also signed for another 6 years. So if I'm targeting anyone from Vancouver, if I'm Edmonton, it's somehow getting Brock Besser away from them.
I was going to say,
I think Besser in their top 6 would be.
I was going to say DeBrus too.
Pettersson's your McDavid replacement when he leaves in a year.
wait till he leaves, then maybe you can swing it.
Yeah. Fuck. All right, well, that'll wrap up Edmonton for us, boys. I think we covered basically what every single hockey fan is thinking today. Now we're just going to see what's going to happen on the ice. So I appreciate you boys joining me again. If you guys like what you hear, please remember, like, subscribe, follow, download the podcast wherever you can. We're currently doing our Canadian team series, and we will be ending it with our two favorites, first Calgary, then Montreal. Those ones will be the probably 4-hour episodes, I would think, probably.
Yeah, 3.5 in Montreal and half an hour in Calgary.
But hey, if you really want to see some good content, you tune in for a Winnipeg one where I absolutely destroy that franchise. So that'll be a fun one. All right, boys. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Signing out.
Oh, fuck.
Signing out.